Well, on the Masters of Spin this morning, the timely release of the most marketable players in football. Fittingly, two of today's grand final stars take the top places. Richmond's Dustin Martin, perhaps no surprise there, and Geelong's Gary Ablett Jr., again, perhaps no surprise, coming in third is Fremantle's Nat Fyfe, followed by West Coast's Nick Natanui.
In the NRL, another grand final star is number one, Melbourne's Cameron Smith, followed by James Tedesco from the Roosters. Another Storm player, Josh Addo-Carr and Kalen Ponga from Newcastle. Well, our Masters of Spin this morning are marketing experts Matthew Bywater and Dee Madigan. Very good morning to you both. What are the characteristics, Dee, that make a sports star particularly marketable?
No sex scandals.
Yeah.
That's pretty much
that hard.
It's not that hard, and yet you'd be surprised.
So you're allowed to have a bit of a drinking scandal?
Oh, that's okay.
That's
if
right.
they
More
redeem
acceptable.
themselves. Yeah, it depends what product you're going to use them to sell as well. But yeah, pretty much, you know, for brands to put money behind a player, they must just sit there going, please, please, please don't text people you shouldn't and send photos you shouldn't. You know?
Yeah, right. It's pretty simple then. I mean, in terms of
so?
keeping that, you know, the KISS method of keeping the message simple, stupid, then that's pretty simple. Matt, what are the sort of products or services that footy stars are most sort of aligned to?
Yeah, so usually it makes more sense when it's relevant to what they actually do. So sporting equipment, running shoes, those sorts of things are a sports star. Deodorant. But then you can extend that further into lifestyle brands because remember, we like people who we like. So we actually see someone, we want to aspire to them. So that's where lifestyle brands do really well,
So like a
watches and cars.
right?
Blenders, not so much.
Really? But if they were having some smoothie that they said they had every morning...
I've had to do ads where you get the sports stars to talk in there and then it's always a problem.
Okay, all right. So just do.
Just look
do,
good.
yeah.
Flash the product
And do. Wear the watch.
Wear the watch, yeah.
That's it.
I want to ask you about another topic today, what's known as this cancel culture, where organisations are distancing themselves from events and values of the past. Disney is the latest to do it by putting on-screen warnings on some of its animated movies, including Peter Pan for offending American Indian culture and aristocats for the way an Asian cat is portrayed. Matthew, Disney says it's decided not to remove the shows from its streaming service to spark a conversation instead. Is this the right decision, do you think?
Yeah, I like what they've done here. And you remember, there's a lot at risk here for Disney because one of the values in their brand is their great historical nostalgia.
Yeah.
We all grew up with Disney. These stories go back. And I like the fact they say, look, we're going to put it out there. We're going to leave it there. And we're going to make reference to it. That is no longer acceptable. It shouldn't have been acceptable back then. It's no longer acceptable. And what they're saying is that we believe the consumer, our customers, are informed, but they're intelligent, and they can make these decisions. So I like the move they've done.
You can't actually fast forward through that outdated cultural depictions. It's probably a little bit outdated of me to talk about fast forwarding something, but you know, I mean that's important, isn't it?
I think it's great that you can't because then kids have to read it and then it does spark those conversations with us.
Kids would ask what that meant.
Well, yeah, and then you can explain what it means because otherwise things just seep into their subconscious. So I actually think this is you don't want to lose all this history and art, but this is a nice way of giving it context, I think.
Yeah.
McDonald's has been copping a bit of a tough time of late, being attacked by its main burger rival in TV and online ads. Rather than getting involved in this tit-for-tat, Macca's has released what some critics are calling its best ever ad. It's French and looks to be, well, expensively shot, but there's not one image of food, just a Happy Meal box at the very end. They're selling a concept rather than burgers here. A good strategy?
Look, it probably is. We were talking about this earlier. You don't go to McDonald's for the gourmet food, and particularly kids with Happy Meals, they go for whatever the toy is. I think I'm a real cynic though, because I saw this beautiful ad, and then at the end it's like, oh God, it's McDonald's.
Yeah.
Does it work?
Yeah, I didn't.
It probably has more
thought it
play
was a
in
bit.
France.
What?
Yeah.
What's that
Yeah,
about?
oh, well, I'm
It
glad
didn't
I'm not
make
the only one.
It didn't make sense to me.
I don't think it would work here. I think it works in France because they've had this theme for a few years about the books. And also French, the French are pretty much anti-corporate too, so you don't want to be in your face for corporate logos. But this free book thing they do with the Happy Meals, they do every year. Yeah. So they're trying to promote that. So there's some sort of resonance there they can build up.
We're improving your kids' imagination and feeding them crap.
Yeah, give them saturated fats. And
So we're kind of undecided on that one. All right.
Perfect.
Dee, Matthew, thank you very much for your thoughts as always.